Thanks.
Now, I hope you can see my screen. So what I've just done, so I've created this. So you will be sent the link to the to your project or to this Azure DevOps, even if it's Jira or Confluence that you are using, you'll be sent the link, so the web link, so you don't need to worry about this. And so you have, I have created Blue Sky BA Training as the organization. So the new organization can be created. So I've created Blue Sky BA. So I've created the Blue Sky BA Training as the organization, and I've created about 3 projects here. So if you want to add a new project, so we can just say add. You just click on the new project. So you can say, so let's say Blue Sky Bank, Blue Sky Bank. So, and the description, you can give the description to whatever it is. I'm just going to put something and create a banking. Yeah. So I'm just so if you put public, so that means everybody will be seeing it. So definitely, because it's private, it's just only the people that you give access to it that can see it. And also for the advanced, so here you can see you have, which I'm going to show you later. So you've got the workflow is different. So you have Agile, you have Basic, you have Scrum, you have CMMI. So, and at the 3 projects I've created earlier, I actually have I've created for Agile, the Basic, and Scrum. So let's say this is actually CMMI, or yeah. So yeah, let's say create that. So, but definitely you're not going to create this, but I'm just showing you this, but it's not your responsibility to create the project, but because probably maybe the developers or the Scrum Master is going to set up this, so it depends on the project team, but it's not be a responsibility to create this platform. So I would just leave that there. So let me just close it if that is the created the project. So hopefully this will sorry, it's slow. So by the time, I don't know, this is slow. So by the time, so you see here, you see under the project I've got learning management system, I've got documents. Sorry, this is just loading up. I didn't. Okay, yeah, so this is the project now in Nothing Blue Sky Bank. So you can add the members. If you want to invite people, you can invite as well, because so you can send the link to people, to your team members, so they can be able to have access to it. So, but I will back to the Blue Sky, the organization level. So here you can see now, so I've got Blue Sky Bank, I've got learning management system, I've got document management system, and I've got website development as well. So I will just show you on this learning management system. So if I click on this, yeah, hopefully it's just loading. The system is a bit slow. So this is the description. So, and this particular one, if we check this, so this is the system setting. I just want to show you to know the difference. I think this one is basic, if I'm right, but we'll see. So, oh no, this one is Scrum. So this one is Scrum. So back to learning management system. So the process that we are using for this is Scrum, as you can see. So, but for the Scrum, we have different. So you click on let's go to the board. So in board here, like if you remember one of the trainings that we had, we actually mentioned that the work item. So the work item could be the bug, it could be the epic. So here, if you click on this, so this is the board now. So if you want to add a user story to this, because I think for BA it's just the user story that you are concerned. Although if it's the tester, they can actually see there. So you can actually see here. You have a bug. If that is the tester, that's what they will select if they want to raise a bug. And so for the for BA, so if you remember, we've talked about Epic, so which is a higher level of the requirements. We've talked about features. So we've talked about task as well. So Epic, feature, product, backlog item, and task. Those are the things that are related to you. The test case is just for the for the testers and developers. So, but for you, if you want to create it, you just click on, if you want to create an epic, you just create an epic. If you want to create the features, you just create an name. So if you see here, you don't have user story, because on this Scrum process, it doesn't use user story. So you can actually use product backlog item for the user story. So that is what is called here, product backlog item. So if you see what I've created here, I've created so many things here. So let's click, or let me just click create a new one. So assume that I want to create a user story. Yeah, well, let's say, okay, I just want to create a user story. Assuming that you have the requirements, you now want to, put in your user stories in there. So we call it product backlog item. So what the developer needs to create, or maybe the user story that you've written. So you just put it in. Okay, sorry. Okay, here. So here, as you can see, so it says it's new because you are just creating it. So it's new, but you have to put, so let's say we want to say create home page. So probably maybe that's the user story, home page, let's say home page, home page, home page. Yeah, so let's say home page. So that's the name of the item, so like user story. So let's say, yeah, so what's the description? So the user story, so you can write the user stories there, say as let's say as let me just say as an organization, as a website user, website user. I want to have access to, I want to access home page. I want to access home page so that I can see the menu. I'm just put it that help. So I'm not saying it's correct. So that's your user story. So the acceptance criteria. So then you can now put the acceptance criteria you're saying. So if it's website development, you can now use your give what's it called, your getting language, your give when then, you can write it there. Even if it's the other one that is non-digital project, you can just say a user must be, let's say a user must have access to home page when clicked on, let's say when clicked on logo. Yeah, so that's your user stories. So then once you just do that, then you just click save. If you see, so you just click save here. So let's save that. So that has been saved now. You can see the PBI number, if they say PBI, so that's the product backlog item. So it's 27. So that's the PBI number. And once the developer, because you've just created this, so once the developer, you can just say, if you want to add any comment, probably maybe you've done it and you've actually created this and you want to inform any of your team member. So assuming that you've added your team or the members here, once you just say add, so it will bring up their name as well. So it will bring up their name. So once you just, so you can just say at maybe Smith Jones, please kindly sign up or maybe just review this, whatever you want. So this discussion is just for a comment. So anybody that actually have access to the board, once they open this, they will be able to see the comments in here. And what you can do here, you can actually use this as well as this is actually the details of what is being created. Then it will give you the history as well. This will give you the history when it's created, the priority as well. Then if you actually need to link this to probably maybe a parent's requirement, so that can be actually linked as well. So then the attachment. So for you, if you will write your business requirements document, BRD, or maybe any other document that is related to this particular home page, you can actually attach any relevant information that is necessary, or maybe for the developer to actually use for this to develop this home page. So that is just the basic what you need to know. How you need to put in record your user stories and your acceptance criteria on the page, and we can just say save. So once we click save, and that is that is being saved. Then if you look at this here, so let's so okay. So let's say, okay, we said this is the one I've just created. You can see here. So, and here, if you look at this, that means it's showing only the backlog item. So if I click select epic, so it will just show only the epics. So, and you can, like we mentioned earlier, the epics, then you have the features, then you have the user stories. So this is like high level of the requirement. So it's just loading up. So that means we've got just only 3 epics here. Only 3 epics, and you can see the features under it. So, but let me just go to the backlog, the one that is really relevant. So here, so once you have it here, so this is the one that we created a few minutes ago, and you can see here. So here you can edit the title. You can move it to iteration, maybe different sprint if it's going to be done in sprint 4 or sprint 2. So you can actually move it to the relevant sprints. And here, because for each of your user story, so they're saying, so you've now written a requirement saying home page. So what the developer would do, although you can just create a task to actually do this. So they can create maybe like 5 tasks or 3 tasks to actually do this, but it is not your responsibility as a BA to create the tasks, but your is just to actually write the user story, make sure the user story is in there, even if you have to do the epic or put in the features in there, but your let me say your work stops at the user story level, so you don't need to create the tags. So if you're not, because and there are some in some organization, they may rename this this column, they may rename it as requirement gathering, development, done, active, or release. So they can rename any of this heading to whatever you like. So now if I've done, assuming that this is requirement gathering, so because I've actually gathered the requirement for here, so what you can just do is once you just click on this, so you click on this, so because it's new, so if I click on, I'm just trying to do that. So if I click on this, I should be able to, come in. So because if you click on the new, because you've actually created, you just created it, so this is what we've written here. So I'm just trying to drag it, move to, so here, so you can see here, if you click on this, because it's just new, if I click on approve, assuming that the product owner has approved this user story to be created, once I click on approve, you see that this telephone will move to the, so now it has been moved. So probably it may be maybe the platform they're going to give you, probably maybe it's going to have requirement gathering completed or approved, then you just move it as required. So, but you just need to input your user story there, move it to the relevant column, and the developers or whoever is going to work on it will do accordingly. So, like I mentioned earlier, so this is the Scrum one, I think, like I showed you earlier. So you can see here you don't have user story on this one, so it's representing it with a backlog item. So if we go to the, let me use this one, document management system. So I just want to show you different work item that is being used. So here. So now if I click on the board, go to the board. Yeah. So here you can see, if you see the new work item here, so this actually have a user story, because this one is actually, I think this one is Agile, so it actually has a user story. So this one has a user story. So here you can create. So if you click on so you can create that. Let's go to the board. Just loading up. So here, so you can see here, user stories. So if you want to create a feature, you use this one to create the feature. So you just create it as, just fill all the relevant information that you have. So you create, so it's showing the feature here, because it's showing the feature. But if I want to actually show the stories I've created here, so it will display all the stories. Yeah. So yeah, so then if you want, actually go to the backlog to see all your stuff here. So, but it depends on the project that you're actually working on. It depends on the project, but not all projects that you will use Azure DevOps or Jira. Not all projects, but it all depends on the organization that whatever you are actually working on. So it depends. So if you want to actually create, so you create that again, you create your features, and if you want to create your user story, so you can actually create the user story as well. So depending, and you can also create from here as well. Yeah. So you can see a new work item, then you can create from here as well. You can create your user stories, task and issue. So, and if you see here, I think the board is different from the approved, the one that we saw earlier. So you can see this one is having new developments, resolve, close. But this can also be renamed, by the team, depending on the organization. I think, yeah, that is just it's the same way you can actually, put in your user stories. Your the PBI is the same as the user story as well. So it has the acceptance criteria things, yeah, depending. Let's see what's displayed there, and I think that is all on the yeah. So you have the acceptance criteria as well. You have your description, so it's similar. So even if you know the priority, you don't really have anything to do with it, because the developer will actually do the priority and the planning, the story points. They actually deals with all those ones. So yes, and you just need to know, depending, probably they may ask you to probably maybe add it particular sprints. I think we should stop on this one. Yeah, on the DevOps. Yeah, I think here we can go back to the So, and on this modeling tips, yes, I just need to show you some things on the when you are doing your modeling, the numbering. If two functions are doing same tasks, so let me just go to this. Okay, yeah. So there are some times that you may have, if you have so many processes or boxes. Let me just try and minimize this, see if this is going to be better. Yeah. So there are some times that you have maybe you have a lot of a lot of boxes there, processes or whatever it's called, but it may be confusing sometimes. So sometimes what I do, if you have so many boxes like this, I just name it, the number hit. I'm not sure if I mentioned that to you last time. When we did the processes, so I can just say 1. So that means the person will be able to know the flow of the task. So that means I can say 2. So now you can see here which one will happen first, because it's possible it's like this and it's like this. So now this is a way whereby it will help for you to be able to number it, because I may think, okay, I'm trying to, let me zoom this. So I may say receive vacancy request. What happened? Is it that I have to send vacancy to agency, or I have to post on the website? So which one do I need to do first? So depending on the process flow, so we can, the process, so we can say probably maybe this one actually has to come first. So let's say 3. This one will be 3, and this one will be 4. So then it will help the readers. It will help whoever is going to, going through this process to, this process map, to actually know the flow or how the process is being, is being done. Let me just minimize that again. So you can see here, so we can say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. So, sorry. So just, I think you have an idea of what I'm just trying. So you can number it the way it follows, that this process has to come. Maybe this one will be number 5, and this one has to be number 6 before it goes to the one at the bottom. So depending on the flow. So you just have, so numbering also helps as well. So it will avoid confusion to whoever that is reading it. So you can number it, but you just have to make sure it's neat and it is orderly as well. It's just to show the order of the task. And so then if you have, it's possible that you remember I mentioned that this one and this hiring manager, HR manager, they are called functions. So imagine if okay, let me say this particular task is actually, I'm trying to look for a task that I can do. So let's say here. So if you look at it, feedback, I'm trying to arrange interview. Sorry, I'm just trying to look for an example that I can use. Okay, so here, assume this particular task is, let me say, is actually review. Let me just change this to review. Let me change this to review. Review application. What have I done here? Anyway. Okay, yeah. So I was actually today. So let's say review. This one is actually review application to review application. Yeah. So you can see here, so assume the hiring manager and the HR manager needs to review the application. So because it's being carried out by 2 functions, so what you can do is just to bring that particular box, the task, you just bring it between the 2, the 2 functions. So whenever whoever is reading it knows that the hiring manager and the HR manager actually review the application at the same time. So probably once this person review and the hiring manager review, the HR manager review, whatever they comes up with, then probably maybe that's when they will just send. Then this HR manager actually send it to the agency. So from what I've done here, so I'm saying that request is being sent to HR team, then maybe an application is being reviewed by the HR manager and hiring manager. Then the HR manager send the vacancy to agency and also post it on the website. So that is just to show whenever 2 functions actually carry out the same task. So you don't have to create 2 boxes here, because if you create one here, if you create this one, put one here, and you put one here, that means I'm saying the review, the HR manager will review. When it finishes, that's when you pass it to the the hiring manager, or the hiring manager first review it. Then when you finish reviewing it, that is when it has actually passed it to HR manager to review again before it's in the HR manager now. So, but when they are doing it at the same time, always make sure you can just use this, you can just bring in between the two lines. So that's what's that. And that's on that. And you can also, there are so many things. Once you have the visual, you can actually, add a pile link, add comments, and all sorts of things. You can actually learn that as well. And yeah, I think yes, I think the business process modeling. Yeah, let me just quickly see that. So which is so that means we have to do, I think we've done that before. So yeah, I think that's all. So if you have any question, let me know. I mean, let's go through it now. Please, does it mean DevOps could be used to manage projects like? No. So the DevOps is Azure DevOps, not DevOps, Azure DevOps. So this is more or less like a collaboration to the one I've just showed you. It's similar to Jira and Confluence. So it's not, you can't use it to manage Jira because it's a tool on its own. So Jira is a collaboration tool or project management tool on its own. Confluence, the same thing as well. So you can either use Azure DevOps. So not DevOps, because there's a different meaning for DevOps, Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps, you can either use Azure DevOps or maybe Jira or Confluence or whatever, project management to manage the project that they have in the organization. So that is, so it depends on what they are using. So then, but once you are familiar with either the Azure DevOps or Jira, then you'll be able to, use any. So the impediment is issue. So the impediment, because like you have, if you check the what's it called, because it depends on, there are some that will say on the, I think the is it the basic or the Scrum, the one that we first looked at that has PBI, that is using PBI as a user story, so it's using impediments. But if you look at the Agile one, the Agile process that we actually checked, that is actually using issue. Yes, that is actually the Agile process use issue, user story, task. So instead of impediment, so they are using issue. So depending as well. Thanks for the process when is good. Yes, I mean, okay. So yes, the Trello. So because Trello is like a collaboration tool as well, but it's just that it does not really have that. You can't really. In the Trello, the developer, I don't really think that is actually really good for development, or because in the development they can do some, because I think, I know I've used Trello in maybe some years ago, but most organizations don't use Trello because it doesn't have, I don't think it has the features like Jira or Trello or Azure DevOps or Confluence. I don't think it has the functionalities, like that. But Trello, I know, is similar to Trello. Yeah, it's similar to Trello. But you can't, I don't think you can have that, all the flexibility, that you can put acceptance criteria and all those things. I'm not sure now, but I think few years ago that I used it, it doesn't really have all those things. So definitely it's rare before you can see, organization using that, Trello. So most actually use Jira, Confluence, and Azure DevOps. So most. So any other question before? And because I think, yeah, I think we've covered most of the things that you need to know as a BA. We've actually covered it. And when you are working in agile methodologies or agile environments, that's when you will be doing the sprint planning. So you may be involved, in the sprint planning as well. They may be able to say, okay, this is what we are going to do next. This is the probably maybe the features or the epic that we are going to deal with, that we are going to start working on for the next 2 weeks. So depending on the project team or the setup. So, but you may be involved in sprint planning, then your daily stand-up as well. So you remember the daily stand-up is like the one that you have, like maybe it should not be more than 5 or 15 minutes, and then you just need to say what you've done and what you're going to do on that day, and if there's any impediments or blockers as well. So any issue that needs to be resolved. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so, and I think, yeah, that's, does one need to learn the agile methodology? Yes, because some organization actually uses agile methodologies. So definitely you need to. You don't really need to. It's just for you to know the process. It's just a process. So like some in traditional, let's say waterfall, you may need to write all the requirements before you get that sign off. But in agile, so they may say, okay, you just need to write requirement for the home page, or you just need to write the requirement for login. So they just need, it's something that they want to release maybe in 2 weeks or within 2 weeks or within 4 weeks. So you just need to write that requirement based on what they want to develop. Once you write the requirements, you get a sign off, you pass it to the developer, then you pick up on the next one as well. Based on your sprint planning, you start writing on that as well. So it all depends on, but definitely you need to know all those agile methodologies. You need to know, daily stand-up, Scrum Master, Product Owner, those are the things that actually, yeah, Scrum Master, Product Owner. So that's what you use in agile. Then your daily stand-up, your Scrum planning, your retrospective, something, there's so many terminologies, that you just need to understand. But as a BA, you just need to understand the process. I think that's why we just say you just need to understand the process, how it works. Then whatever happens, then you will be able to flow, with it. Yeah. And does one need to, when do one need to? Well, the project manager or the project, it depended, either the product owner, the project, you will know, you're not the one that will actually determine the methodology that you're going to use, because you are not the product owner and you're not the project manager. So they will let you know, saying, okay, we are actually, even when you get into any organization, they may say, okay, we are actually using agile process here or agile methodologies for our project. So then that definitely you just need to gather maybe the requirement, whatever they want to do. You're going to be having daily stand-up, you're going to be having sprint planning. But definitely they will inform you. You are not the one that will actually determine whether you're going to do agile or waterfall. Thank you. So this is the end of the BA training. So thank you for your time, and thank you.